All right. So I just want to say one thing to start off the video. If you guys didn't watch my previous video before this, the daily bias, 100% recommend that because as you can see, everything is going as planned. I still have the same markers. I took the exact same trade. This was exactly what I marked out for the daily bias. The push up in this fair value gap and the two highs getting taken out, three highs, and then pushed into these lows. Anyway, today is a different video, as you can see by the title, probably, that we're going to be talking about. I already have a video regarding fair value gaps, but there's so many of them, right? Like, you could spot fair value gaps here, here. There's too many, right? I'm going to talk about how to know which ones will get respected and how to know which ones will work, because that was probably the hardest part for me when I first started trading. Was like looking at a fair value gap like this, you know, I was like, how come this one I would have looked for a short off of that, right? How come this one just completely got ran through and this one got ran through, right? And how come this one got respected that we had marked out in a higher time frame? It's just like a lot of newer traders, you can mark out a fair value gap, right? Like why would this one get disrespected? Why didn't this one just tap in, take out the high? You understand? So that's what we're going to be talking about today because a lot of new traders, they're like, they're confused with that. And when I was first starting trading, that was the most confusing part because ICT was just showing these fair value gaps just getting tapped in and then just, he literally just didn't wait for any inspection. He just knew. Like, that's the thing. Like, ICT shows, oh yeah, just tap it in right here. You just mark this out, you tap in, go long, boom, and then hit a crazy trade. But how come he never got like he just tapped into this one and then entered and then it just stopped him out? Now, I figured out why that happens. I figured out why you shouldn't take a short off of this fair value gap. I figured it all out. And today I'm going to be talking about it. And overall, it's because of the structure. You have to figure out before before doing anything, you have to figure out what the market wants to target. If you're overall on the wrong side of the market, then the fair value gaps are just going to be getting disrespected. For example, if the market wants to target these highs before going lower because it's a higher time frame move, like this was all a higher time frame move. It was just generating liquidity. So you have to understand all time frames of the specific scenario that you're working in. Why wouldn't I have taken a short off of this? Fair value gap getting pushed into because we didn't know it was going to get closed above like this. First off, number one reason, you have all of this generating liquidity above. Second, you have a inefficiency above. What does that say? First of all, the first three things I've ever said the market targets is equilibrium. Well, first thing is liquidity. Second thing is inefficiencies. And the third thing is equilibrium. So as long as you think within that scale, then you could get a decent understanding of where the market wants to target. As you can see, this was a high confluence setup because there's multiple highs that are unprotected, pushed into a 4-hour fair value gap. That's why it dropped so steep into these next draws on liquidity right there, these two unprotected lows. Now, so if you're on the wrong side of the market, then you're just going to completely get stopped out on every fair value gap you use. Fair value gaps are only respected when you're on the right side of the market. For example, you wanted to take a long here you're on the right side of the market, you could have used this fair value gap. As you can see, it taps in, and respects and overall takes out these draws on liquidity. Now that could have been your move. Or see me, I figured out that fair value gaps are great. They're a great concept, great tool. But for me, I've learned that inversions help even more because see, a fair value gap, it could show you that it's respecting it for a couple of candles. Let me find a scenario. Okay, perfect example right here. This is just the quickest one I found, right? Now, this is a 5-minute. Let's say you don't have all of this and you're just looking at it through hindsight. You have 1, 2, 3, and then a move completely down, right? So this looks like it's just going to go for the draw on liquidity right here, right? This is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 within this relative area of this fair value gap. Now, this is where a lot of ICT traders are going to get stuck in short. They're going to be looking to take a short, put their stop above here, draws on liquidity, and then they'll ultimately get stopped out. So that's why I like inversions, because if you have an inversion, it can't fool you like this. An inversion is just a complete close above like this, right? Completely closed above. So you have to look at fair value gaps that get inversed and fair value gaps that are being respected, of course. For example, this is the inefficiency. If this gets closed above, you're going to look to take, it's just way more precise because inversion fair value gaps are just insane. As you can see, it's not playing off of this general area of fair value gap, right? This is too big to play off of. It's playing off the inversion fair value gap. That's why it's so much more precise. When the fair value gaps get closed above, it completely like unvalidates this. You're not going to be looking for shorts. You're going to be looking for longs. You could have entered here and wait here, and then boom, there's the draw. Here's another perfect example, right? So all of this was very quick. This was pre-market, right? But I want to show you how I took my setup. So we have whenever you see a high like this, and usually a high is formed, right, with a low and a low next to a candle's high, pretty much. I mean, it's pretty much common sense. For example, this could be a high, right? Because it has a lower candle to the left, lower candle to the right. But these are, for me, these are high confluence highs because they're also coupled with a fair value gap with this inefficiency, right? So it has some resting liquidity on the lower time frame, and it has a fair value gap. So here's how I would have taken this trade at 10:45. It swept out these lows, and I also took a long here, by the way. Wait, no, I took a long right here, actually. Okay, now I remember. But I want to show you how I would have taken this entry. It's because this is the one I missed. This is the one I got in at 10. 10:45 is a little too late, but I could show you. You have the inefficiency. You have the highs here. You wait for them to get swept out. Got swept out in one singular candle. That's so important. If it was chopping around still up here, that's not good. You want to see it get swept out in one singular candle and it inversed in one singular candle. So you could have literally entered in off the close of this candle. This is why my stops are so tight, because I get such a good entry. And then you could have put down to there. Next draw and next draw, right? It could have been 2 take profits, but this is a 1 to 5. But you see how precise it is? It's not going to come tap into this high again and stop you out because it inversed this candle. That's the thing that nobody knows about these fair value gaps. Write this down. Write this down. Listen, if it sweeps a liquidity, I don't care what time frame, but if it sweeps the draw of liquidity it's been looking for and then invalidates the opposing fair value gap, that is the exact pinnacle of a beautiful entry. Now, if it just tapped in and went a little bit more up, I would have never taken that trade. I would have never even looked for another setup, even though it probably would have came back down. It just makes it like you're just guessing more. But this is a perfect example of a liquidity sweep and the disrespect of a bullish fair value gap or a bullish PD array. So that's why it works so well, this entry. And as you can see, it works great. I'll show you another setup I used my fair value gaps for right here. So I knew the two higher time frames, right, that I literally gave out for free where the whole market was going yesterday. So I recommend you watch it just for proof. I'm not, so you guys aren't saying, oh, this is hindsight or anything. Anyway, we had these two draws, and why I think this was going to be the draw, because you have a low and then you have a higher low right next to it. So these are untapped areas of liquidity. So the market was definitely residing. And you have these, and you have these. So you definitely knew it was coming, right? That was probably why it came back down, because it missed those. Anyway, now we can get a little bit more precise. You see how it completely, and this was a gorgeous fill. I mean, this was one of the best, most precise trades I've ever taken, just because it's not the most profitable and nothing. Just because of how well it reversed and went back up to the next target, drawn liquidity. It just bounced between sell side and buy side. Anyway, you see this? 1, 2 higher time frame lows. Sweeps it out within this one fair value gap candle. This one doesn't really matter. This candle swept it out from here to here. Swept it all out. You draw the inversion. It inverses. You just go long. You could put your stop, because I put my stop here because I didn't like this risk to reward down here. I didn't think it was necessary because I didn't feel like there was going to be any drawback. That was my trade, a 1 to 3. My first take profit was there. Second was there. And then third and final one was right up there. Let me pull up the screenshot. There it is. Right off the same exact inversion fair value gap. Beautiful, beautiful trade. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Let me know if you guys have any questions on exactly what. Like, give me a day, give me a time. I'll go back in the chart. I'll record it. I'll upload it. And I'll show you guys exactly how I would have thought about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good luck trading. See you.